I went to the storage room to find weapons with which I could kill him for sure. Blunt or not, it didn't matter to me. Right now I didn't need to care whether someone saw or if the police came. This world had gone crazy after all. Maybe it's just you, Keiichi, on that one. A world where I'd shown up at the festival and had fun even though I wasn't there. Well, it's just really confusing, really, Higurashi, isn't it? Another mindfuck novel that I've heard about, I was looking at through TV tropes on it literally just yesterday. I think it's called something like Doki Doki Literature Club or something like that. And it's apparently it starts off kind of like Higurashi in that it's lulls you into a false sense of security. It's all oh, it's all innocent and happy, and then only it goes a different kind of while Higurashi's more of just I don't even know how to describe Higurashi really, despite the fact I've been freaking going through these novels. It's just it's psychological, and it's also got a bunch of other types of horror. While this other one that I just mentioned is more about fourth wall breaking horror kind of thing, where it's just glitches up and shit like that, and deals with issues depression, suicide and shit like that. So it's really dark theme despite appearing all innocent, much like Higurashi. But the one thing that's puts me off from that novel though is the fact that apparently after you get the ending, it pretty much just fucks up the game where you can't play it anymore. Well, novel, whatever. Where it's just just leaves you to one screen. It's just not, it doesn't necessarily go you can't do that anymore. But it more or less seems to be the case for that. Probably you can mess around with files to do that and switch it around again. But that's kind of a neat feature and all, but it just puts me off of stuff like that. It's not the dark themes of it. It's just that one bit is the deal breaker right there. Just the fact that it just pretty much erases itself. It's nah, I don't know. Anyway, what the hell was I even rambling about that for anyway? I can't remember. Short memory there. Well, yeah, he was going on about the world being crazy and not him, and then even if the police arrested him, he'd probably end up going right back home as if nothing had happened. With me and another Keiichi Maibara. If that me, he'd fill in. I could vanish from himself without anyone noticing. So basically, I didn't care if I was mistakenly killed. Even if I died, Keiichi Maibara would remain. After all, this isn't the world I belong in. If I was going to be killed mistakenly for Satoko, then that was just part of my duty as your nini. What was it called, that one effect? Was it Mandela effect or something like that? Where it's just oh, you crossed over into another dimension and you didn't realize it, and that's why you remember things that aren't. I don't know. As those desperate thoughts became serious, the morning air felt more refreshing to be, strangely enough. Oh, this one's scary. Let's go with this. It was a hatchet meant for chopping thick firewood. Its hefty steel blade was sinister, almost as though it was a tool meant for killing people. I couldn't exactly take it out in public like that, so I wrapped it a little in some old newspaper and tossed it into the basket on my bike. He used a bat last time and now he's gone with a hatchet, man. Sorry for using you for evil all the time. I'll need you again today, my legs. I apologize to my bike for some reason. For the past 3 days, I've only used it for dangerous things. I've been riding this bike ever since I lived in my old town. This music doesn't really feel fitting, does it? Although, I suppose it adds to it, really, isn't it? He's just I'm sorry about this, he's just probably has a kind of grin on his face. Not like a sinister grin, more just like kind of like, yeah, I'm sorry for getting you involved in your bike. Just like showing, yep, he's lost it. I'd been riding this bike ever since I knew I could walk most places I went to go, so I hadn't used it all that much. Just like, sorry bike, sorry for getting you involved in all this murder business and all. My mum had bought it for me when I entered cram school, thinking it would be a convenient way to get to the station since it was far away. So I'd always used it to get back and forth from cram school. I'd only ever put textbooks and class materials in the front basket too. I'd never tried to put a hatchet I'd be using to kill someone in here. When I came to enemy's hour, life finally felt fun. I met the best friends ever and had some of the greatest times ever. Those times might have been shattered now, but it was my greatest wish that I could get them back, even if I had to risk my life to do it. That's how fun those times had been. I killed someone, and now I was at it again, needing to kill someone. Murder was a crime. I didn't believe that people should ever think murder was okay. But still, the times I'd had were enjoyable enough for me to commit such a crime. That's the thing, isn't it? When you think about it, it's just like, didn't believe that people should ever think murder was okay, but people do that all the time. Not murder, but, you know, when it's like when there's like a criminal that's done something so evil that people are pretty much just like, kill the bastard! It's understandable with some crimes, but still, that's like being like all like, no, we're not okay with murder. We'll make exceptions now. As long as they aren't the ones doing it. Well, then again, some would pretty much just be like, I'll kill the bastard myself. Anyway, my friends were irreplaceable, and the time spent with them a treasure. Hanging out, laughing, sometimes tricking each other, but always in a friendly way. Well, I suppose you could see it that way, Keiichi, but well, I suppose people like that in real life as well, isn't it? It's like, oh, it's just a prank! I didn't fear committing any crime as long as it was for the sake of taking back those times that gave my heart so much pleasure. Yes, this was a value I decided to uphold. It wasn't something I learned from a school teacher. It was a noble path that I chose for myself. I put back to when I had first come to Enemy's Hour. About how on the very first day Satoko had welcomed me via a blackboard eraser with a rock in it. That welcome really surprised the heck out of me. Yeah, friendly pranks! Yeah, friendly pranks. A blackboard eraser with a frickin' rock in it, probably smacking you in the head. Friendly! She would laugh, get angry, cry. She was never boring. She was obviously the most childlike one among us, but she was actually lively, full of vim and vigor, and good at meddling in other people's businesses. That went for me on Rena and Rika-chan too. Wasn't Satoko the one at the center of everyone's laughter, laughing and banter? Satoko would try to look cool. Then Mion would make fun of her endlessly. No, that's your job, Keiichi. Then Satoko would cry, which would put Rena in a state of ecstasy. Rika-chan would be greatly delighted. But Mion, not so much, and I happened to get mixed up in it. No, it's because you were also joining Mion on teasing her, you idiot. We would always fool around like that. It was, lonely when someone wasn't around, but if I had to name one for whom it was the worst, it would have been Satoko. Her smile was everyone's smile. Ever since she stopped smiling, so did the rest of us. And for the rest of us, not smiling was the same as dying. Well, wouldn't it be the same case if it was any other member, really? I mean, if they suddenly, uncharacteristically, kind of like, pretty much went silent on them and just like didn't smile at all, they'd be concerned. It was just like when I was silently going to cram school every day just to maintain my unchanging test scores, which, now that I think about it, described me, that would. But then again, if if I were in this group of friends, they'd probably get used to it and kind of just, I don't know, just like, I don't know. I don't smile much. Although, if I was around, like, people like that, just like, always goofing around, I'd probably smile more, I suppose. I just like a very stone-faced, unless, like, someone manages to actually get me out of that bubble. So basically, we were nothing when she wasn't smiling. She was full of hot air, and I'm not sure if I read the previous line. She was full of hot air, but she was our princess, cute and unhateful. In that case, I was her knight, searching for the dragon's castle in order to win her smile back. Knights, of course, use swords. The awesome two-handed kind. I'm probably the only knight in the history of the world to be taken somewhere and on with a thick, rusty hatchet. And I saw an old woman in the ridge of a field waving to me. Then he waved back and didn't realize he was waving the hatchet. Oh my, Keiichi-kun, out for a morning ride, I see. Good morning! Ohayo gozaimasu! Imagine if he sounded like that. I reflectively waved back in a refreshing way. Should I really have been feeling so happy waving like that? Sound like a shopkeeper. Satoko's house would be right past this road going beyond the rice paddies. The Kakados had woken up too, and the next thing I knew I was the audience to the daily chorus. I gave myself a hit or two in the chest and drove away my merry morning mood. I took a deep breath and tilted my head back, quelling my pointless excitement. You know, I've just kind of like been rambling a bit here and there, but it's just like only now, like, well, I realized at the start, but now I'm realizing more and more. It's like this whole scene's all been all like cheery, yeah, wasn't that great? Riding my bicycle, gonna kill that motherfucker again. That's essentially what's going on here. He's just joyfully just riding his bike on his way to kill Satoko's uncle again. The body wasn't there. Its absence, I lament my killing him had been an illusion, or that I'd killed him and he'd risen from the dead. If I was at the festival, then maybe I should have considered it an illusion. Coach probably thought that way, which is why he treated me like a lunatic. But it being an illusion was just impossible. I killed him without a doubt. Without a doubt. If that had been an illusion, then that would make all of this cinemas I was in right now an illusion. If that was the case, then here's how it would end up. I was actually in a vegetative state due to a traffic accident, and I was currently dreaming in a hospital bed about how great it would be to spend time with friends in rice paddies like these. I just figured that, just like, that could be a what if, isn't it? Just like, what if this whole time Keiichi's in a coma? That was a terrifying thought, though. If this wasn't an illusion, then the only possible answer was that he had resurrected. It would make him a literal monster. But if he was such a monster, then I was no less than a monster myself. I didn't hesitate to kill someone, and I could even manipulate curses. Darkness Center died probably because I'd cursed her. Or maybe that was a little much. If Coach and Oishi died too, like I'd cursed them too yesterday, then I'd believe it. Now what? Oh, knocked something over there. Where the hell did the frickin' charger fall? I've had, like, the charger unplugged this whole goddamn time. Because of the bzzz sound. God damn it, it fell on the floor somewhere. Yeah. Right. Ready for the shitty sound? I mean, I've turned the mic down so it doesn't pick up as much, but it's still kinda gonna be there. Not as bad as, like, my Echo Night LP, where it was, like, a constant issue, you know. Because I had to have the microphone up a bit more volume-wise, because I couldn't just hold the microphone closely, you know, to actually pick up my voice more clearly. Because I was, you know, using the keypad, whatever you want to call it. Because I have to, you know, play the game. Here, I can just, like, sit here casually and just read, because that's pretty much what this is, isn't it? It's reading. Let's read more than let's play. I set my bicycle aside and went to take a look. His motorbike wasn't here. Of course it wasn't. I sent it down to hell that night, throwing it into the Onigatachi swamp. Or maybe, just like how the corpse wasn't here, maybe the motorbike didn't get thrown into the swamp either. That his bike wasn't here might have been because he had gone to town and hadn't come back. Not necessarily because I'd thrown it into the swamp. If her uncle wasn't around, then that was convenient on its own. Then I would just show myself in and wait for him to return, sharpening my hat. If he was there. Forgotten sensations came back to my guts. A feeling of tension rose within me. The sensation was like poison dulling my actions, but it could also be the trigger to allow me to awaken to my superhuman, otherworldly self. I held the hatchet still wrapped in newspaper. Its weight in my hands was profound, sinister, and reliable. Now, it'd be ironic if, like, the paper he's used, like, the page that it's on, like, maybe the front page has, like a headline that's like, breaking news, murder! It's just like, well, isn't that always the case in the news, though? Breaking, okay, everyday news. Another murder here, a murder there. An asshole there, some tits here, depending on what newspaper, some celebrity shit here, some more celebrity shit here, some sports shit here, some sports shit here, and here's some other shit that we don't care to advertise as much as the other shit. And that is that. Oh wait, I forgot. Okay, go back up. Political shit, you've got political shit, you've got sports shit, you've got celebrity shit, you've got murder shit. Do newspapers really have anything more than that? World news shit sometimes. I don't know. I haven't read a newspaper in years. I mean, news, like, when it comes to news nowadays, just read it online, isn't it? Even then, I can't really be asked, because it's always the same shit. It's like this one site, List First, seems to, like, have like a weekly list where it's just like rounds of 10 things that have happened in the news. Kind of use that instead, you know, keep up with stuff. Like any significant things happening in the world this week, it's like, here they are, stuff happened. Rather than, you know, just like browsing through freaking websites that are all like, I don't know, just really chaotically designed, I feel, these websites. Daily Mail's the worst, but then again, that's not a very reliable one in general. It's more just like, I don't even know how to describe that website. It's just kind of notorious? What's the word I'm trying to think of there? Infamous, yeah, infamous for being kind of like shit, essentially. Anyways, back to the plot. Imagine if he had that as a newspaper, like on the front page, wrapped in it, just like, murder by hatchet. Oh, how fitting. I didn't know what time it was or at o'clock, but it was probably still a little before 7. Satoko would probably be awake preparing breakfast and her lunch. But her uncle would probably still be wallowing in Nolans. A guy like him probably would have stayed up late drinking and probably always slept until noon. Well, that almost describes my past 2 days, minus the drinking. Stayed up late, slept until, you know, like evening. That's me, man. Just none of the drinking. I considered ringing the doorbell and having Satoko open the door for me, but if her uncle woke up at the sound, I'd waste my chance of him still being asleep. If Satoko saw me sneaking inside without ringing the doorbell, she'd be surprised. Especially with you holding a hatchet wrapped in newspaper. So I ran into her. What would I say? I've come to kill your uncle for you, sir. You know, stay quiet. No, I couldn't do that. That would be like making Satoko responsible for his death. Stay quiet and go wait outside. Maybe that would do it. How would Satoko react to that? He would probably try and get me to give up on killing me. I would have to lie somehow to get her to go outside. Satoko didn't need to know that a murder was going to occur in this house. I couldn't quite think of a good lie to tell her, but I couldn't do much just standing around like this. I made up my mind and grabbed the doorknob. Then slowly turned it and pulled. It wasn't locked. The gap between the door and the wall steadily grew larger. The chain wasn't even on. The oppressive smell of life in Satoko's house hit me. At the entrance there were a few pair of shoes and sandals. I couldn't tell whether he was here or not just by looking at them. I could hear a television on somewhere. Man, the television was in the messy dining room. There was food scattered about the table, giving an impression decidedly different from a happy family's mealtime. I thought my room could get messy, jeez. Meals were for eating food while thanking the person for making it. Feeling whatever occurred in this dining room wasn't a meal. Nobody in sight, no sign of anyone either. But with the television on, he must have been close. Could he have anticipated my coming and be hiding, waiting for me? The tension I felt was so quick, so tight that I thought it would shook me. The newspaper wrapping the hatchet's thick blade didn't hamper its power at all. I tightened my grip on it, then very carefully took a look around. Where had those peaceful feelings from before I arrived here gone? Those jolly times as he was like, la 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 la, riding my bicycle, gonna kill Satoko's uncle again, Then when he arrived, it's like, okay, shit got intense. It's like, wasn't it tense to begin with? Even the sound of sweat bubbling up on my brow got on my nerves. And then I looked at the table and realized something. This wasn't breakfast. The grains of boiled rice were all hard and dried up. Then, was it last night's dinner? I left the dining room, keeping vigilant. Went down the hallway and found the stairs to the second floor. When that man was playing with his friends, he looked out of a second-story window. It was highly possible that room was his own and that he slept there. I tiptoed up the edges of the stairs, quietly climbing, without making a sound. I couldn't hear any kind of snoring. I didn't hear anything up there. I went through a few rooms, slowly and quietly opening the paper doors, checking inside. But I still couldn't find anyone around. To search more efficiently, I got down on the floor and pressed my ear right up to it. I could hear the television in the dining room, a low hum, perhaps, of boiling water. It was then that I started to harbor some feelings of suspicion. This house wasn't right. It seemed like people had been here since the TV was on, but it wasn't normal for nobody to be around this early in the morning. I sadly descended the stairs and went back into the dining room. I looked at the food scattered about, completely dried up rice, an overturned bowl of miso soup, the package for a side dish bought at the supermarket. I could tell Satoko had definitely been the one who made this. The food was far from beyond perfection or Renner's gentleness, but it was sincere. Judging by how she cooked for me at my house, and from the type and amount of side dishes, I deduced the meal was from last night. The number stamped into the food package read 830620, June 10th, 1983. We have an official date! That was yesterday. So the day before was the 19th. And God knows when, the actual plot started out. It's kind of vague with its transition of time sometimes, isn't it? Sometimes it'd be like, oh, and the next day, and then the next day, and then suddenly it'd be like, several days later, and there was food for two. Which meant that this was last night's dinner, and Satoko's uncle would have been here then. Stop it, Keiichi. Don't even think about saying the word impossible again. Anyway, her uncle was here last night. That much was the truth. He had found fault with Satoko's food, thrown a bowl of miso soup, and flung the rest everywhere. Hidden deep within my feelings of calm and composure was lit a flame of anger and a curse. Should I have ever shown this man any mercy? I don't think he really showed him any mercy, to be honest. Bump. What? I I heard a sound again, like one from before, like a water boiler. What was it coming from? The first floor? But where? The bathroom, maybe.